guys, it's Will from the Game Lounge here, and today I'm taking a look at the Retroid Pocket 4 dock. Now, this is something that really appeals to me. Retroid are a company that, for me, every single time have delivered in terms of quality and price. So to have a branded dock for the Retroid Pocket 4 is something that was really exciting to me. Now let's take a look at the box here, because actually this, normally you can see the Retroid Pocket, it comes with a sort of Apple-esque presentation, and here's the grip. In this case though, this looks much more like you bought it from Dell or something like that. Much more basic packaging. And when we look in the box, actually, when we take a look here, all that comes with this is a very small instruction manual and the actual unit. Disappointing that there's no USB-C cable, but they can be picked up reasonably cheaply. Now, the whole unit, it feels pretty sturdy, but also very light, a little cheap. And actually, if you look here, you can see that you can adjust the USB-C, but it's very stiff. And that's something that initially gives me some alarm bells. You have, of course, the charge power cable, HDMI, USB 3 on one side, and then USB 2 on the other side. So plenty of connectivity to be used here. Overall though, I mean, it looks great, a little cheap, but it is cheap. But yeah, the main concern is just this slider, which is pretty stiff. If we compare it, this is just a generic one on the market, the U-Green. Now this is designed for a Steam Deck, so actually the USB-C goes in the top. So I really like the fact that this is designed around specifically the Retroid Pocket 4. Now this is slightly strange. You can see here that the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro is not quite central, but they have decided to create the dock centralized. Now that means that when you push the unit in, and you can see here, it doesn't just go in smoothly. It sits just off center, which seems like a bizarre choice. You can see here, if we slide it back, it's not completely central to the unit. Now that's not a problem, but it's slightly strange. The unit is designed, you can see on their website, it is designed for the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, but it will work as a charger for the Retroid Pocket 3. Now, great, I mean, so will a USB-C cable, but I guess it's nice as a displacement stand if you have these old items. Now, when we compare this to obviously the Switch dock, which is dedicated to the machine, you can see the Switch just slots in, clicks in very nicely, and comes out very nicely. Now, this is built for the Retroid Pocket 4. You can see that they've tweaked things slightly so that it will work for other systems, but you can see here I'm really struggling to get this in. It's not a smooth transition, and I think the cheapness of the item, this definitely feels like it could potentially not only break itself, but potentially impact the charger. When you take it out, there really is a big click to this item. Another strange choice here is they haven't designed this to work with the grip, which again, seeing as this is designed specifically for the system, seems a strange choice. Not only when is it the grip makes it not actually make the contact, so it doesn't work, but when we have a look at it from this angle, and you can see here, I'm struggling to get this in, having had to shift it slightly forward, but the grips mean that it just won't sit. So if you look at this, it's not possible to use, and I think that that's a shame. I think that that's something that they easily could have factored in. It does, however, work very nicely with the Odin 2, and that's pretty helpful, I think. It's nice to have this unit. Again, though, same problems apply with it being a little stiff. But how seamless is the experience? And this is actually more of an Android limitation than anything else. Firstly, what you have to do is you have to go to one of the quick buttons and disconnect the main controller. Why do you do this? Well, you'll find that many apps will then pick up your standard controller by default. So when we log in here, you can see I've got my Xbox controller connected, and general navigation is okay. I'm on Emulation Station here. I've also tried Show, and general navigation seems to work pretty well straight out of the box with these. You obviously have to remember when you're setting up things like RetroArch to make sure that the relevant quit hotkeys are assigned to your control pad. Otherwise, once you launch, you simply won't be able to get out unless you hit the home button. But if we launch this here, you can see straight away RetroArch will pick up the controller and is a pretty seamless seamless experience. Now, you'll see here that, well, you won't see here actually, but I did experience some lag while playing this. Now, I managed to fix that with Run Ahead, and the 16-bit experience seemed to be pretty clean. And actually, RetroArch works perfectly. It doesn't matter. So any systems, PlayStation, Dreamcast, through the Flycast core, SNES, classic 16-bit and handheld Game Boys, etc., that all work through RetroArch, and you are going to have pretty much a Switch-like experience with this, which is pretty good. Things have definitely come a long way just by simply disabling the main controller on the unit. Now, other emulators, your mileage may vary. So let's take the GameCube, for example. Well, I could get into any game, no problem at all. The controls mapped perfectly, but there's no menu button on this, so I couldn't find a way to simply close. I could obviously press the home button and go back to the Android navigation screen, but I couldn't go any further than that. And that was a little frustrating. I'm not sure if there's a profile or something you can do. On the other hand, PSP worked great. This was pretty much flawless as well. I could very, very quickly boot up a game, play it. One of the bumper buttons mapped to the menu button, so when I then wanted to quit, I could easily exit out using PPSSPP, return to the menu, and seamlessly carry on. So PSP is a great experience. And actually, so was Citra. So I've been surprised. I was expecting to have to create loads of different profiles and remap and have all sorts of problems here. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's not a perfect experience. There's plenty of times when I had to disconnect it and jump on and tweak things. But Citra is another one that just worked out of the box straight away with my Xbox controller. Absolutely no problems with navigation. Managed to get in-game in every single game and play no problem at all. As with Dolphin though, and of course GameCube, no way to actually access the menu directly through the controller, therefore had to actually close the whole thing. Now PS2 is the only one that simply just doesn't work. You have to manually map the controls each time using Nether SX2. It's not a great experience, to be honest. Now, if you're focused on a game and each time you're going to switch, you know you're going to switch and you go in and do it, maybe that's not a problem for you. For me, just a little bit too clunky, a little bit too overhead. I'm hopeful that this will be fixed someday. I think as gaming is becoming more and more prevalent and docking of systems is becoming more and more prevalent on systems, I'm hoping that Android, the OS, by its very nature, is going to incorporate controller support more. But that's something that we'll have to see. And in the meantime, hopefully emulators will come up with ways, profiles, etc. to work around this. So what do I think here? Well, I can't really recommend this. I mean, it's a great option, but to me, the build quality, and in particular, the way that the item sits in there, is probably not going to be beneficial to your machine's USB-C port. Now, it is cheap. It is a great option, and like I say, the fact that it supports other systems like the Odin 2 I think is brilliant. The experience, which has nothing to do with Retroid, is a little clunky, but it will work. I just wish it was a little bit more premium. Now, I know these guys make these devices, and I know that they typically, Retroid, go for value, but I would have happily paid another $10 here to just have a slightly more premium slot for the system. Anyway, thank you. Quick video this week. Obviously hoping to do a lot more. To everybody that subscribes, thank you so much. If you've enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.